morning, everybody. Crafting Journey here, that Journey chick on Instagram. Welcome to another edition of Crafting and Crime Daily, the show where I describe live trials. I do recaps. I'm currently recapping the trial of Dr. William Husel. More on that to come later. Let's grab our journal, our planner. Yeah. So, I hope you guys are having a great day. I don't know when you're watching this, but thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button. Today, he is following Stitch around outside because I want to know where he goes. So the like button's going to let me know. Yeah, it's cold outside, but you'll be fine. Don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying the content. And if you're already subscribed, consider becoming a member of the channel or a Patreon. Both go to support the content of the channel. I ordered more Diamond Art Clubs yesterday. They got some back in stock, some of the Harry Potter ones. And the one with Hedwig carrying the letter away from the castle, I had to get that one. I passed it up the first time, and then I saw it on the restock, and I said, oh, I used my $50 card. You know, you accumulate points, and I had enough for $50, so I took $50 off, ordered that. And I threw in the Merlin. Yes, I'm getting Merlin. I've been looking at it, and I'm like, I really love that. Neither one of those fit with my theme of Year of Landscapes, but it'll fit with next year's theme, which I haven't told you what that is. So, more to come on that. Anyhow, today we are going to talk about, it is National Let It Go Day. Let it go. And this day in history, we're going to talk about the Barbie doll. Did you have a Barbie doll when you were little? Raise your hand. More than one? Were they naked? Most of the time. Barbies. We're going to talk about Barbies this day in history. Okay, it is Wednesday. Oh my gosh, tonight is Craft With Me Wednesday. I am going to be crocheting. So I did promise you guys some more stuff out of this book. And you guys voted quite a while back. And the vote was for me to work on, all right, it's on the cover, the Calming Mandalas. Yes, here they are, Calming Mandalas. There you go. It's right on the cover. This is what you guys voted on. We're going to do one tonight on Craft With Me Wednesday. Let's see, what color should I do? Let me think. What color should I do? If you would like to craft along with me, choose any DK weight, a 3-weight yarn. They recommend a wool blend. I'm just going to go with a mandala 3-weight and a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. So come join me tonight, 6 p.m. Central, Craft With Me Wednesday. Calming Mandalas. Yes, we'll put that off to the side. Yep. Calming Mandalas. Yep. So we're going to do that tonight. So excited. We are expecting a snowstorm tomorrow. Yeah, right? I'm not going to put that in the planner because maybe things will change. You never know, right? So I was working on this painting last night. Look, not much left. Not much. I just feel like it's going on forever and ever. I was working underneath here. So I got a lot of this done. There's still some stuff to fill in here. And here, and then I've got these sections here. So like 5 sections left. I know, it just feels like it will never end. But I did work on it last night, I promise, while I was listening to the trial. Yeah, and can't wait to start the next one. I know, I'm so addicted to diamond painting. Isn't it terrible? I was like really into it last night. So I kept thinking, I'm going to finish. I'm almost to the finish line. But no, I'm not there yet. So let's talk about crafting and crime daily. Today, oh my gosh, today they're putting on nurses. Yay! We get to hear from the nurses. Yesterday was Hospitalist Day. I thought they were going to continue that again today. Oh my God. I'm sure the jury by now was like, yes, we get the point. So this is a case of Dr. William Husel, who is charged with 14 cases of murder. He is accused of murdering his patients. Now, all these patients were in pretty rough condition. They were in the ICU for various illnesses that they were suffering, and he would convince the families that they were brain dead and they should take them off life support, and they would agree. And this was happening during the middle of the night. He would have these families come in, have this conversation. Then he would order these ridiculous amounts of narcotics. Nurses would go get them, administer them, and the patient within minutes would pass away. Yeah. Crazy. According to one expert, enough medication to knock out an elephant. Yes. You know how much elephants weigh? Holy moly. All right. So today I wanted to talk a little bit more about the victims, which really coincides with yesterday's testimony, because yesterday they had hospitalists on. Now, what a hospitalist is they're a primary care doctor. They're usually board certified in internal medicine, but they actually work for an outside group. They're not employed by the hospital, but they're contracted with the hospital, and they have shifts in the hospital. So when you go in the hospital, you don't get your own doctor anymore. Your own doctor does not come to the hospital. Yeah. So you get this doctor that knows nothing about you, who comes in. He becomes your attending physician, and he's kind of like captain of the ship. And they're assigned these things. They're just, randomly assigned you go in through the ED. If they want to admit you, whoever's on for the hospitalist, that's the name that gets assigned. Okay, you get XYZ hospitalists. Sometimes they have assistants that will go over and do histories of physicals and try to get as much information as they can. But sometimes these patients are in the ED, in the ICU, and dead before the hospital ever lays an eyeball on these people. Do you think I'm being critical of hospitalists? I just don't like the concept. I never have. I understand it. I don't like it because I don't like someone taking care of me in a hospital who knows nothing about my medical history. I don't care for that. Anyway, that's just me. So we had at least 3 doctors come on yesterday that were hospitalists. And in one way or another, they took care of one or the other of these 14 victims. And they all pretty much testified very consistently that these patients died before they ever looked at them. They got assigned as attending because they came through the emergency room. Sometimes they were dead by the next morning, and so they would come in because they're the attending, and they would have to do a discharge summary, even though you have to do a discharge summary, even though you're dead. You have to have a discharge summary, and they have to do the death certificate, and there has to be a cause of death. So they are reviewing the medical records, but they're just looking at whatever the prior doctors wrote, including Dr. Husel and the emergency room doctors. That's the information they have. They do not look at the medication administration records. So they have no idea what this patient was administered for the palliative extubation, nor do they care. They're just, I can tell you that these hospitals are ridiculously busy. So this is just paperwork for them. They don't know these people. They had nothing to do with the families. Now, I will say in one of the cases yesterday, one of the hospitalists said he took it upon himself to speak with the family. He felt like he should be the one to do that. I thought that was pretty good of him. So rather than have Dr. Husel talk to them, He actually laid eyes on the patient, assessed the patient, and talked to the family, and they agreed to the palliative extubation. But he did not know that Dr. Husel ordered these exorbitant amount of drugs. So let's start out by talking about some more of the victims. I went over 7 of them yesterday. Another one of the seven more victims, there's 14 total, is James Allen. He was 81 years old. His family has a wrongful death suit pending. He died on May 28th, 2018, after being administered 1,000 micrograms of fentanyl ordered by Dr. Husel. He came in with a severe infection and gallstones and quickly went into cardiac arrest, was placed on a ventilator, and sent to the ICU. This was around 8 to 9 o'clock that night. And during the night, Dr. Husel tells the family he's in multi-organ, his organs are all failing, and he convinces them to take him off life support. And that's when he administers the 1,000 micrograms of fentanyl, and he passes away. The next victim is Troy Allison. He was 41 years old. He died on July 15th, 2018. This family also has a wrongful death lawsuit pending. He came in around 11 p.m. the day before. I could not find any information about why he came in, what his initial complaint was, but he was placed on a ventilator, and within 2 hours of being placed on the ventilator, Dr. Husel tells the family that he's brain dead, and they allow him to do the palliative extubation. He administers fentanyl, and 3 minutes later, this man passes away. The next victim is Bonnie Austin. She's 64 years old. The family also has a wrongful death lawsuit. She came in with COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. That means your lungs are constricted. You have a very difficult time breathing. A lot of times, you require oxygen. She also had stage 4 kidney disease, which means her kidneys were pretty much done. Because so stage 1 through 5. When you get to 5, you're in kidney failure. So she passed away on September 30th of 2018. After she shortly came in the ED in full cardiac arrest. Her heart stopped like 5 times. She had a tension pneumothorax, which is a situation with the lung where it's leaking air and they have to put in a chest tube. So they put a chest tube into her. And she is suffering from acute respiratory failure. So they have to intubate her. She's placed on a ventilator. She goes to the ICU. Dr. Husel that night tells the family she's brain dead, and they agree to a palliative extubation where he orders 600 micrograms of fentanyl and 4 milligrams of Versed, and she passes away shortly thereafter. That is administered. Then the next victim is James Timmons, 39 years old. He died October 24th, 2018. Now we're getting into the time frame where things are starting to happen in the hospital. They're starting to notice these large doses. We're in late October. It was late October, early November when the ball started rolling. So this family of James Timmons also has a wrongful death lawsuit. I told you yesterday, there are at least 30 lawsuits against this hospital from prior patients of Dr. Husel. He came in with hypothermia and an altered mental status. I suspect there was a witness on yesterday who was a forensic toxicologist. He came in to testify about 2 of the patients where he obtained blood near the time of their admission to see what they had in their system. And Robert Hayes, which was a gentleman I went over yesterday, 39-year-old victim, and this James Timmons, both had drugs in their system, either fentanyl or some other stuff. But they did have drugs in their system. So they came in with overdose. So the defense's argument is going to be that these two guys, these two people, were very tolerant to fentanyl, so they needed larger doses to make it work. Which, I mean, I understand that argument. I do. So he's placed into ICU on a ventilator. Dr. Husel tells the family he's brain dead and his organs are shutting down. So they agree to a palliative extubation. He orders 1,000 micrograms of fentanyl, 10 milligrams of Versed. 10 milligrams! That's 5 times the usual dose that would be given in an operating room setting. And 10 milligrams of Dilaudid. What? 2 milligrams is the usual dose of Dilaudid for a pain situation. So 1,000 micrograms of fentanyl, which is 10 times the normal dose for a palliative extubation if you convert it to morphine. 10 times. No, 100 times? 100 times. It's still a really large dose. I'm terrible at math. Oh my gosh. 10 milligrams of Versed, 10 milligrams of Dilaudid. What? Anyway, he passes away. Yeah. You think? Oh my God. All right, then the next victim is Sandra Castle. I don't know a lot about her, but now we're getting into November. Now at this point, they already know this is happening. Dr. Husel is administering these large doses, yet he's continuing to practice and he's continuing this behavior because no one has talked to this man to find out why he's doing it. So he's still doing it, even though they know about it. They're trying to figure out why it's happening. No one has talked to him. So on November 13th, 2018, Sandra Castle comes in. I don't know what her age was or her diagnosis, but she is administered 1,000 micrograms of fentanyl and she passes away. Her family also has a wrongful death lawsuit pending. Then Rebecca Walls, 75 years old, on November 19th. Now this is 3 weeks after that this has come to their attention now. At this point, they're waiting for the peer review meeting to happen, the one that doesn't happen in November, that they rescheduled to December. So no one has talked to Dr. Husel. So this is continuing to happen. So Rebecca Wells, her family also had a lawsuit pending. They settled it for $4.3 million. $4.3 million. That was a settlement in that case. She came in with shortness of breath, lightheadedness. She went into cardiac arrest and kidney failure. And Dr. Husel decided to administer 1,000 micrograms of fentanyl and very large doses of Versed. I don't know the exact dosages of Versed, but large doses of Versed. And she passed away within minutes. And that family received $4.3 million. Holy moly. Then we have Melissa Penix, 82 years old. Family also has a wrongful death lawsuit. She died on November 20th, 2018. 3 people in November. 3 people died from these excessive doses of narcotics. After the company knew about it. Afterwards. But nobody's talking to Dr. Husel. Nope. So he administers to her, I don't know what, she came in with stomach pains. They diagnosed her with pneumonia, put her on a ventilator. She goes to the ICU. He tells the family she's brain dead, convinces them to do a palliative extubation and comfort care. They agree to it. He administers 2,000 micrograms of fentanyl, and she passes away within 5 minutes. So those are the last of the 14 victims. So today we're going to hear from a nurse. Troy Redmond is on the stand. He is one of the nurses that took out some of these doses of fentanyl out of the Pyxis. I cannot wait to hear what he has to say. We know that he was put on administrative leave similar to the pharmacist and the administration, and he was terminated in July of 2019. So I am interested to hear what he has to say. I'd love to know if he is suing the hospital. Um, yeah, very, very interesting case. So another case that I would like to just kind of chat with you about, it's going to be a really interesting trial if it ever goes to trial. This is the case of Sherry Papini. Now, Sherry was, she was a housewife, married, had 2 kids. She was training for a 5K run. So she puts her 2 kids in daycare. Her husband's at work. She goes for a run and is never seen again. Disappears, completely disappears. Her husband comes home. He finds that the girls have not been picked up from daycare, and his wife is nowhere to be found. He goes to the end of the driveway where their mailbox is to see if there's any trace of her, and he finds her cell phone and earbuds sitting by the mailbox. So they start this all-out search that even goes nationwide. Like, everybody is looking for this woman. The dogs, the helicopters, the drones, everybody for weeks is looking for this woman. Then one night, they see her stumbling down the highway. Someone finds her. She's half naked. She's freezing to death. She's lost 15 pounds. She's beaten up. She's got bruises all over. Someone branded her right shoulder. She's a mess. So they put her in the hospital. She gives this story that she was abducted. This van pulled up while she was out for her run. There was a woman in it with a gun that tells her to get in, and they throw a bag over her head, and she's taken to some undisclosed location where she's thrown in a room, and they continue to beat her up. And it's just this crazy tale. So the family just goes into kind of seclusion while she's recovering from this. Meanwhile, she's collecting money from a victim fund to help with her recovery from this trauma that she's suffered. And now we're finding out it was all a hoax. Yes, she was actually off with an old boyfriend. He picked her up while she was on her run. It was all prearranged. For the whole time she was gone, 3 weeks, she's staying with him several miles away and asks him to brand her right shoulder, beats herself up to cause all these bruises. Now, I don't know why she lost all the weight. Who knows? But it was all planned. So now she's in big trouble. So she's been arrested. Initially, the judge said no bond, that he felt she was a flight risk. But then yesterday, he changed his mind. The family was able to put up a 6-figure bond, and she is out of jail now, pending this case. So will she plead? She's going to have to pay back the government all the money they spent searching for her and the money that she got from this victims fund, which was like $40,000. So this will be an interesting case. So what happened this day in history? The Barbie doll was invented on March 9th, 1959, the year before I was born. Do not do the math. Stop. Don't do the math. The first Barbie doll goes on sale in New York. Now, this was very unique because dolls up to this time were baby dolls. This was the first doll to depict an adult. So this one went on display at the American Toy Fair in New York City. She was 11 inches tall with a waterfall of blonde hair. So the woman behind Barbie doll was Ruth Handler. She co-founded Mattel with her husband. After seeing her young daughter ignore her baby dolls to play make-believe with paper dolls of adult women, Handler realized there was an important niche in the market for a toy that allowed little girls to imagine the future. Barbie's appearance was modeled on a doll named Lily, based on a German comic strip character, originally marketed as a racy gag gift to adult men in tobacco shops. The Lolly doll later became extremely popular with children. Mattel bought the rights to Lily. Oh, I said Lolly, didn't I? Lily. And made it its own version, which Handler named after her daughter, Barbara. With its sponsorship of the Mickey Mouse Club TV program in 1955, Mattel became one of the first toy companies to broadcast commercials to children. They used this medium to promote their new toy, and by 1961, the enormous consumer demand for the doll led Mattel to release a boyfriend, Ken. Yeah, that was named after her son. Barbie's best friend, Midge, came out in 1963. Her little sister, Skipper, debuted the following year. Over the years, Barbie generated huge sales and a lot of controversy. On the positive side, many women saw Barbie as providing an alternative to traditional 1950s gender roles. She had a series of different jobs. From airline stewardess, doctor, pilot, and even presidential candidate, others thought Barbie's never-ending supply of designer outfits, cars, and dream houses encouraged kids to be materialistic. It was Barbie's appearance that caused the most controversy, however. Her tiny waist and enormous breast. It was estimated that if she were a real woman, her measurements would be 36, 18, 38. Those are my measurements. Led many to claim that Barbie provided little girls with an unrealistic and harmful example of fostered negative body image. Despite the criticism, sales of Barbie's related merchandise continued to soar, topping $1 billion annually. Annually, $1 billion every year by 1993. Since 1959, over 1 billion dolls in the Barbie family have been sold around the world, and Barbie is now a bona fide global icon. Ooh, you go, Barbie. Barbie for the win. Barbie for the win. Okay, so I'm going to put up a picture of the African American Barbie that was in 1980. The Barbie runs for president. She looks a lot like Hillary Clinton. That was in 1992. How funny is that? Then we have Drag Queen Barbie. We have Chemotherapy Barbie. I think I'm going to end it on Chemotherapy Barbie. What? Oh my goodness. Do you collect Barbie dolls? A lot of people collect them. And they leave them in the box. They're very valuable. These are in storage lockers everywhere. If you want to bid on a storage locker and you come across a Barbie that's anywhere in those first few years, it's going to be worth a lot of money, especially if it's that original one I showed you. So that is the show for today, guys. I hope you had a good time. I hope you're having a great day. Don't forget to tune in to me tonight at 6 p.m. Central. So we're going to start some calming mandalas, yes, from our crochet therapy book. Yep, right here. So stay tuned for that. If you want to join me, it's a 3.5 crochet hook and one skein of a number 3 weight yarn. So take care, everybody.